Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Today we have Ryan Morrison. He is the founder of CardaxDEX. And Ryan, we're going to start off with the first and most important question. What microphone are you using?
Yes, of course. Let me just check. I have no idea, to be honest. So I'll just, it says here Divine. I don't know if it's a known.
It looks like a large diaphragm condenser microphone. We'll go with that.
Yeah, let's leave it like that.
We'll go with that. Well, can you give us your background in the crypto space?
Sure. So I think it goes back to 2017 when I was, at that time, I had already gone to a few Bitcoin meetings, meetups mainly, but I think it was like in 2016 and 15. But by then I thought, yeah, this thing is not gonna, it's gonna remain very niche. Like, boy, was I wrong. And
weren't we all?
But then moving to 2017, then Bitcoin by then was already growing a lot again. And then in one of those bull runs, I think it was like somewhere in October in 2017. And then I thought, okay, let's look around what else. And then I got into Ethereum, I thought, well, it's pretty interesting, this thing that you can use the same technology, but also to start building on top of it, and not just as a payment method. And then I thought, well, what else is out there that is not Ethereum? Who else is trying to tackle the same problems? And then I just stumbled upon Charles Hoskinson's Whiteboard video, and then I just then the whole thing started.
Yeah. You know, this is a common theme I'm discovering with most people who are involved with ADA.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I feel like that Whiteboard video has paid its weight in like gold, because I feel like you reach, it's like a black hole. And once you watch the first 10 seconds, you've reached the event horizon, and there's no escape at that point. It's just down the hole you go. So yeah, I'm with you. Yeah. It really is. I definitely understand the watching Bitcoin from the side and thinking, oh, well, this is neat. I was a poor college kid. I was a grad student, and I was watching it in 2012, 2013. And I thought I couldn't save enough money to buy a token. I was like, gosh, this thing's $100 a coin. I can't afford this. Well, I should have eaten ramen a lot more and bought some tokens. But yeah, I like how you talked about Ethereum, Solidity, and Bitcoin. I love Charles's explanation, deaf, dumb, and blind. You know, it's just a list of transactions. That's all it can do as of right now. So needing to be able to build smart contracts and finding ADA, I think that's fantastic. A lot of the listeners on my channel are a little bit newer, so I don't want to leave anything to chance for them to understand, you know, what's going on. So with that in mind, why build on Cardano as opposed to Ethereum?
Yeah, that's a good question. I guess like one of the most important thing was the fees. So as whenever you go to a DEX on maybe let's use Uniswap as the most known DEX on Ethereum, then you'll notice that, well, you have this huge gas that you're paying every time that you want to do a transaction, or also if you're a liquidity provider as well. But more importantly than the gas fees, while building on Cardano, is because of the being involved already for a long time, and looking at all the peer review and the way of doing things from Cardano, it was really appealing from a development point of view. So that also tells you on how the future would look like also for Cardano, how they do things. And then we here at the team also liked the way they have done things in the past. So we thought like it's very likely to continue that way in the future. And also all these hard forks that are more like of a kind of an upgrade in Cardano, more than a decision of a community of breaking. In this case, it's a plan, and then that's a great thing when you want to start developing and building on top of something that that's going to remain at least in this base layer.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I love how they call the hard fork combinator events really a non-event for those that are at home watching, right? So we've had 2 already, and did you notice? I hope not, right? No. So it's not a big to-do, and that's designed to not be a big to-do. So I love that. Yeah, I did a video showing it's a problem, right, for the transaction for the gas fees on Ethereum when the value transacted tends to be less than the actual gas fee itself sometimes, right? And I think it's not a sustainable model. I think everybody knows that. ETH 2.0 is coming at some point, right? I call this current ETH 1.5, right? The second layer is just a Band-Aid. I will say that for forever. It's just a patch to get you to hold people over, right? And I think we're seeing other projects come into the market, right? Like Binance, to fill a need at the cost of decentralization. I mean, we know this. Anybody who says otherwise, they need to really understand that. So I think ADA is primed in the next couple of months to be fast and has high throughput in comparison, relatively, and still not sacrificing decentralization to that extent.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you meant.
I think there was something very clever that Binance did. That I think they did what Ethereum should have done, and for that. But I think moving to Cardano. Sorry, I interrupted you. You wanted to say something.
Oh, no. I was just asking, you mentioned your team, and I actually, looking up your people that you have, I would love if you could just give the listeners or the viewers, you don't have to get into too many details, but what other projects have your team been involved with, and et cetera? Yeah,
sure. And let me start also from the beginning. So the whole thing started in going back to speaking about hard forks with the Merry hard fork when it was possible for the viewers that don't know. From that moment on, it was possible to create your own native tokens in the Cardano blockchain. Then I put a proposal in Catalyst. And maybe also we can discuss it later more in detail.
Oh, it's on the list, yes.
Yeah. So then, the whole thing started from then. So then we just thought, now you can create all these tokens. A lot of them won't have value, but many will. It's just like now there is for these native tokens, there is no exchange where you can actually start trading them. So I put the idea on Project Catalyst, and then from there I started getting a lot of feedback, and then from there also a lot of people contacted me and said I would like to help on this, on that, and then the team was built from the Catalyst proposal, which is really interesting to see.
That's powerful. I think that's so powerful for having that. I know right now it's a centralized entity, a third party for Project Catalyst. Eventually it's going to be baked into Daedalus, we hope, right? Yeah. So with that being said, you already mentioned Uniswap as an Ethereum. That would be something comparable to what you're building that's already running on Ethereum, correct? Mm-hmm. And my question, and what I find extremely interesting about your product is for those of you at home, please, I'll link in the description the Project Catalyst and their website. But there's something that you mentioned in there about how order books and orders are handled on these decentralized exchanges, i.e. either the order book or the automated market maker models, right? And then you mentioned having an EAMM protocol and how it's supposed to kind of give you the best of both worlds and help provide stability and price action without much slippage for smaller market cap tokens that are coming onto your exchange. Is that correct? Can you I would really love for you to tell us some of the sauce behind this, because this is fascinating.
Yeah, sure. So it starts with basically look at and we try to dissect the whole exchange markets, and I would put both decentralized and centralized exchanges in the same box. So then we started looking at the whole market and how does it work when you place an order, and what happens after in the backend. And then we noticed that there are a lot of different systems, but the two most important ones are, and it's an order book system, and the second one, it's an AMM, or automated market maker. The order book, it's what's a lot of centralized exchanges use, like Binance or Bittrex or the same Coinbase, which is it's a good it works when you have a lot of liquidity, when you have pairs like BTC to ETH or ADA to USDT. Ones that have a lot of, you have these markets with a lot of liquidity. It works not that great when you have a pair that is very low on liquidity. So, and this will be the case for new projects, for example, that start on Cardano. Usually you don't start big, and then we'll get more onto the AMM. But there are also some cases in that world of order books. They're not only the Binance of this world, there are also decentralized exchanges that are using the order book style. Some of them are IDEX, for example, if you have used for Ethereum. There's also another one called Switcher, which is an interesting one because that it was one that in 2017, when I don't know if you remember when Neo was a blockchain that by then where everybody was talking about it, and then
yes,
and then it was like the next big thing. It was by then,
just like Pancake Swap, right, or any of these other,
exactly. And then they also use the order book. The problem is that then those guys, even though they had a great UX, I remember I met them also in an event, and then they had an awesome looking exchange, and it was decentralized and everything. The problem that they had is that they just didn't have liquidity. So then you would go place there your token, it would have to, and then you couldn't trade, or you would put an order, and then it would pass like 2-3 days and it wouldn't close.
Yes, that still happens nowadays. Sometimes
it still happens.
Yeah. So for those of you at home, when you place an order on an order book in a decentralized exchange, that there has to be a seller for every buyer and a buyer for every seller. And if the volume you're trying to purchase, if it's not available on the exchange, then your order won't go through. And so this is what Ryan is also referencing right now. And it's a very real problem that is definitely hurting small projects.
Yeah, definitely, and it's very annoying also for traders, because you just put an order, you just want to sell or buy now, not in 2 or 3 days from
exactly.
Now. Yeah.
We want instant gratification. So how are you? I mean, I know when you look at your project on the Catalyst proposal, it's not actually. I guess you really don't go into too much detail about it yet. You're just mentioning that this new way of doing things is going to be a nice marriage of the two. Can you give us a little any little behind the scenes info on how you guys are tackling this problem?
Yeah, sure. So then what I mentioned also at the beginning is like the two styles, the order book and the AMM. So we're going to go more for the style of the AMM. So for people that are watching this, try to imagine a Uniswap, but on Cardano, said in simple. So and that's it gives you the option on the one hand to be a liquidity provider. So you can start a pair of, let's say you create your own token, you have the Bob token, and you want to create then you can create the Bob token and ADA, and now you have created a market. You are the liquidity provider. So then we will go more for that style. The only thing is that it also has some cons. When you see, for example, in Uniswap, some of the cons are that slippage, as you mentioned. So then the other thing is as well that you need to have, when you create any market, you need to create, have the same amount in ADA and in your Bob token in this case. So the problem is that you cannot create a big market already for your coin. And then you have like the problem of slippage. So what we're trying to do is to keep that model, so you can create a pool, but there are two ways to tackle the problem. So one way is to use an oracle to take that as the price. So you don't have to put 50% of this and 50% of that. The other thing is also that you can give the price to the taker. So you are the maker, you create your token, but you give the price to the person that is going to buy. And that part also in the protocol that we have in the EAMM protocol, which stands for extended automated market maker. And what we're trying to, those are one of the things that we're trying to tackle. And that's why we said that we want to have a bit of the best of the two worlds, the best of the order book and the AMM.
That's fantastic. I'm extremely excited to see how this is going to play out and the tokenomics behind this and just the economic principles. So I think that's going to be really, really fun to watch. For those of you at home, Uniswap is a decentralized exchange built on Ethereum, and you interact with it through an extension, a browser extension, i.e. MetaMask, which is an extension to interact with an Ethereum wallet address. And what we have here on Cardano, which you can already use right now, is Yoroi is the light client, right? So you have Daedalus, which is your full node client, which downloads a complete copy of the blockchain to your computer. Then you have Yoroi, which is the light client. It doesn't download the entire thing. It's your interface to interact with your addresses. And I know that you mentioned, and I went on your Discord. Those of you also, you can go on the Discord, you could go in the general channel. There's just a lot of, and Ryan, you do a great job of responding to people on there. You're very active. I commend you. So no, you're welcome. And you mentioned, right, that somebody asked that question. They said, well, how do we interact? Well, it's the same concept. I guess in your mind, you're envisioning Yoroi acting as as your wallet. You can click it to confirm transaction. So Yoroi is essentially going to be the MetaMask to your CardaxDEX. Is that what you're envisioning right now?
Yeah, that's correct. And to be exact, Emurgo is working now on a connector to Yoroi. So then you'll be able to, you will have a kind of a similar experience that now you have when you go to Uniswap, you connect to your MetaMask. In this case, you would connect to this. You would connect to the connector that will connect you with Yoroi.
That's fantastic. So for those of you who don't know, they were in Project Catalyst round 4. They're currently in the assessment phase, right? And they've requested $50,000 US. And this is and as of right now, I think you have 171 applauses, because I went and applauded it earlier today when I was reading through it. Let me see here. I had this. I think this is extremely interesting, and I don't think that Uniswap or any other DEX has this built in, and I'm very curious on how this is going to work for you. You mentioned two-factor authentication being built in to your DEX, either through SMS verification or a two-factor code, or maybe even a YubiKey potentially, or something along those lines. Can you talk to us about that and what type of implications that's going to have for you?
Yeah, that's a good point. And it's still not completely done, so it's part of the development. But what we see is that also it could be that we could also integrate with Etela Prism as well for later on, because then you can also verify your identity. But like for the details on how it would work, we don't have it 100% finished. So I wouldn't go into much details, because we just really for every single feature that we have like 2 to 5 different ways that it could work. But yeah, that's in the roadmap as well. And yeah.
Is that I believe you said that's for the second round, part of your timeline? Is that correct? So
yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. I think that's an amazing feature that you could build in. If you can, and that's successful, I think that's just going to extremely increase the utility of your platform. So, are you guys are you part of the Plutus Pioneers program?
Yeah, we are one of the developers that is part of the program.
That's fantastic. So have you guys been able to play around with the smart contract languages and interact with the front end UI on the DEX?
Yeah.
Can you give us a little, how's everything going? Kind of a temperature check for the people?
Yeah, I mean, it's going very smoothly. So far, we have like as you mentioned before as well in the proposal we put that we wanted to have first tackle the UI and the UX of the whole platform. The reason for that is precisely for this, because we wanted to start first testing how it would look like, and then how it would work on real life, so to have a demo. So that then we have also demoed there for internal use, of course, for all the testing. But everything has moving according to plan. We're looking also to have by late July as well to do the whole audit of the different smart contracts as well. And then we're also waiting for the Alonso hard fork to be able to release, and we're aiming for somewhere in August.
That's fantastic. As far as the audit goes, is that going to be an internal audit? Will you hire an external company? And if so, can you tell us who yet? Or
yeah, we're now in discussions with 2 different companies, but yeah, the idea is to do a third-party audit.
Fantastic. Now, those of you at home, if you've used Uniswap, or if you've ever used MetaMask before Uniswap went live, you might have gotten an airdrop with 1,500 Uniswap tokens in it, which happens to be the utility token for that particular DEX. Do you guys have any plans on your end to end up creating a utility token that works with CardaxDEX?
Yes, and that's something that has come from the community, a lot of that question. And yeah, in short, yeah, we will do. We will have the CDX token. We already moved forward, and it has been already minted.
Can we ask? I can ask one question. I feel like this talks to the power of ADA. Can you give us a ballpark figure on how much it costs you to actually mint your tokens?
Oh, it was super expensive, 3 ADA.
See, that is powerful. I'm sorry. Yeah. Like, you just can't do that on Ethereum. You can't.
No, exactly.
Okay, now I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just needed to drive that point home to everybody that's asking, well, why ADA? Why not Ethereum? Or why not, I don't know, pick your favorite smart contract token, right? So I thank you for just throwing that out there, because I think that's amazing. All right, please continue.
Yeah, sure. And also we did a few tests before. And yeah, on Ethereum, we would have had to pay a lot in smart contracts as well. In this case, yeah, the figures are like they allow you to test also things without getting bankrupt.
Yes, that has to be nice. Yeah. So, any potential cross collaborations maybe in the future with, I don't know, Sigma USD, or maybe even integration of AGI whenever they port over of the use of their AI tech in your platforms? Yeah, then there are a lot of things that we have also in plan for future releases as well of Uniswap. Sorry, of CardaxDEX. Now that we were talking about Uniswap. Yeah.
But yeah, the idea is to start like with the most simple UX and just allowing people to just on the one hand create be liquidity providers. So you can once you create your token, you can create a liquidity pool and be able to start trading your own token. Or if you're a trader, you would like to go and then buy one of these native tokens that will be on Cardano. then you'll be also able to do that. And then from then on, we want to build it also with partnership, also for maybe also in the future for lending or for partnering with other projects, or also for credit scoring, also for identification as well. And then it's like the first layer as our philosophy is to start with one thing and then make it work, and that it works well, and then people also like it, and then we start building on top of that also in the future. We have seen also some projects that start with everything in once, and then it's a lack of focus that then you don't know really what you should do first. So in our case, that we want to start with the DEX. And then make it, as I said, that it just works well for people. That's what it is supposed to do. Then people can trade the Cardano native tokens. And from then on, there are a lot of things that we have also in the pipeline. One thing that I forgot is that now that I was talking about liquidity providers, one of the things that we want to do is that when you become a liquidity provider, so then it will be roughly 0.03 percentage in fees.
Okay.
The idea is from 0.035 that this 0.5 goes to one part goes the 0.3 goes to the liquidity providers as fee for creating or being part of that pool.
Mm-hmm.
And the 0.5 goes to a DAO that will manage also that money, and that would be also a way to, it would be a DAO managed treasury that will allow also people in the community to have a say on how those funds will be also used. And then that also it's linked to what we were discussing before on things that will happen also in the roadmap in the future, that people will have a lot to say by being part of the DEX.
That's fantastic. So it sounds like, and you mentioned liquidity provider, and I can't hear the word liquidity without like thinking of liquid finance or anything like that. And then you mentioned a DAO. So are you thinking that, and I love your ethos of keep your goals specific and small, make them work really, really well, and then build off of that. And I love that philosophy. So we have our DEX, and for those of you at home, Cardano is built to be decentralized, right? We're not fully decentralized yet. The block production is fully decentralized, but governance isn't yet. But eventually it will be. And it's extremely important for this to be censorship resistant. And the only way you can really do that is to have DEXs. That's one of the key things, because otherwise your fiat off and on ramps, if there's central points of failure, then that's places that, governments could go after, or et cetera, if they don't like it, right? So this is an extremely important step and fundamental. But you mentioned liquidity providers and a DAO. So the Ethereum equivalent to that, or one of the things that pops in my head, are two things. One is the latest trend yield farming thing, and then the other that pops in my head is MakerDAO, something along those lines. And so, are you guys thinking about building your own solutions, or are you already thinking of partners or other projects that are already building these solutions that you might want to end up integrating with as this goes on?
That's a very good question. We haven't figured it out yet. And that goes to the same that I was mentioning before, that we want to have like the first thing running really well. But we do know that we want to allocate a percentage of all the fees to a DAO. Now, how it would work, we're kind of thinking of something doing along the lines of what Project Catalyst is doing. So and then for that also, then the relationship with IOHG would be also great to learn also from their experience and especially to learn from their experience, because that as we have seen also with Project Catalyst, it has grown so fast, and there are a lot of things that I think that we can learn also from them. And this will be, of course, just a tiny fraction of what Project Catalyst is, but it's like more like the looking at the at them as a point of inspiration for us, to give them the community also the option to have a saying also in where the next where, on the one hand, where those funds should go. If it's or if they say we should open a kind of a Cardax starter or launchpad also for projects in the future, then that could be also something. Or if they say we want to start something totally different, or finance different projects that have something to do with Cardax, and then we will leave that to the community to decide, and for us to kind of manage how we make it happen.
That's fantastic. I have, I guess, one other question and then one nosy question that you can choose to answer or not, and that's completely fine. I didn't find it on your paper, so that's why I want to ask. First question is, if I were to create a utility token for there's a project that Muse Pool is building. It's called Project Muse. We're working to build a decentralized streaming service for artists. I'm a musician, and I have yet to find a way to, if you're not signed by a record label or you haven't reached superstar status, to make a decent wage living off of creating music, because there's too many middlemen that they take profits. And so by the time it gets to the artist, they either no longer own their copyrights and have to buy them back from their labels, or they're getting like 0.005 cents per 1,000 streams. So there's a problem, and I'm gonna build a solution to fix it. But for example, if I were to have a utility token on my platform, how would I go about getting my utility token listed on your DEX? So if somebody creates a token, what's the process for them to get it listed on your DEX?
Yeah, we want to get the process as simple as possible, and it would look like something like you would read the documentation. That should be something like just one page, and we'll also make a tutorial on how to do it, and it would tell you on how you could use your utility token plus the other pair, let's say ADA. You could also do it with another Cardano native token, but let's use ADA in this example. And then we would basically show you on how to create that market with the two tokens, as opposed to what happens in other exchanges where you have to go and then apply to the exchange and fill in the form and say, like, this is my token, and could you guys allow me to trade my token in your exchange. In this case, would be more of if you have it, and then we just tell you all the technicalities on how you can make it done, get it done. Then it will work like that. So then we don't want to filter, and so anybody that can create a pool would be able to create a pool and start trading the tokens.
That's fantastic. For those people that are building, or that out of the 10,000 different tokens that are created as of right now, when you guys go live on the mainnet, do you plan on already having some type of cohort of tokens ready to be available on the DEX? And if so, is that available for people to apply now to kind of be under consideration? Is that something on y'all's radar?
Yes, that's a good point. Then we will start with at least 5 different pools. So people can, because we want to avoid the effect that usually happens online when you go to a forum and and you see that there's no article there. In this case, we don't want to have that effect. So then we want to create already a few pools. So then when new users arrive to the platform, they already see that they can, at least with 5 different pairs, they can already start trading. I would say to anybody that is creating at this moment or has created already a token on a Cardano native token, I would like to be part of that. Just go to our Discord. You can find it also if you go to CardaxDEX.io, and then you'll find there the button directly to our Discord. And then we will also announce when the time comes for people to start giving us their ideas or sending the tokens to us and suggesting, and then we will start from there. But in short, yeah, we will start with at least 3 to 5 pools in Cardax.
That's fantastic. I just want to be able to buy some space coins on your DEX. That's all I want. No, just joking. So one other question, and I just think this is always important for transparency on projects being built for Cardano. I think we've, as the protocol gets larger, the more bad actors are coming into the space, and everybody, everybody has to be quality control on everything. But I do think, just for the community to know, I couldn't find it, and I just wanted to ask you, what is the total circulating supply of your tokens for your utility tokens, and what percentage of those tokens are going to be owned by the core development team whenever this launches? Can you tell us that, or is that okay?
Yeah, sure. So then the maximum, the total supply will be 1 billion tokens. And then from that, not more than 20% will be owned by the core team.
Love it.
Yeah, and
no, I think that's great. There are a lot of, so for those of you who don't know, if you bought Safe Moon Coin or Dogecoin, these projects, there are entities, I mean, on one hand, who own well over half of the total circulating supply of tokens. So this is a really great thing to hear. This way we know that the core development, they're incentivized for these tokens to appreciate in value over time, and that's how they're going to derive their value back from this project they're putting their work into. So I think that's fantastic. Thank you for divulging that. I couldn't find it anywhere, and I just didn't know if it was up there or not. So
yeah, sure. Yeah. We haven't published it yet, but in short, it would be not more than 20%. And also the other thing that I should mention as well is that for the core team, the tokens that will be allocated to the team, we have a 2-year vesting period. So then it's not that if somebody has the CDX token and then as soon as we open, then we will just dump them. Then that's also aligned with as you just mentioned, with the longer term as well and vision of the team.
That's fantastic. So for those of you who didn't quite catch that, basically, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they're not locking up, but their tokens are going to be released to them over the course of 2 years. So there's no way for them to take all 20% of their tokens and just dump it on the market. Is that correct? Yeah,
that's correct.
Good. I want to make, for those who don't understand that at home or are not familiar with this, this is a big deal that can very much leave you as the dumb money, holding this token that has no utility for a really high price, and the founders have left. We don't want a Litecoin moment where they sell the top and then leave you high and dry, but that's not what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of which, also we will be also talking about the CDX token. We will be also starting a very small private sale in the coming days. So we'll also be announcing all the details on that on the Discord. So if anybody wants to that is listening to this or watching this interview wants to participate as well, just go to our Discord, and then we'll be also releasing more the details of that specifically on the tokenomics.
One more very important question with all things that have gone on with Occam's razor, all that. So is this token sale going to be on Cardano, or is it going to be on Ethereum?
Yeah, no, it's going to be on Cardano. Yeah.
There we go. That's what everybody wants to hear. So fantastic.
And we'll only do it with ADA, nothing else.
Nobody needs to send you any Ethereum addresses. It's all ADA addresses. Take that to the bank, everybody. That is fantastic. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for your time. I know your time is valuable, and those of you that are listening, thank you for your time to listen to this. I think this is a great project that's going on. You definitely need to be keeping an eye on their progress. I'm excited, guys, to see what's going to happen. I'm really excited to see when we get a little bit further along in the testnet, when you guys really start seeing that UI front end and things working. So if you didn't have a chance, go to their Twitter account, follow them, subscribe. You guys only have like 2,500 people following your Twitter account right now.
Yeah.
So that's unacceptable. Like, you guys need to at least have 10K. So please go follow them, subscribe, go check out their website. I think the UI design on the front end, when you guys posted your picture on the mobile of your DEX, I love your color palette. I think I don't know what's up with Uniswap. I mean, like, who does things in white anymore? We all know that when it's black, your battery's off and it lasts longer, right? So I don't know what they're thinking. I like it. So, but Ryan, again, thank you so much for coming on, and maybe we can have you back sometime later to give us some updates on it. And
yeah, definitely, that would be great to catch up when we're closer, maybe to launch as well. But yeah, thank you for having me, Ryan. It has been a pleasure. And I would love to come back and also talk to the community more about the latest things that we're working on Cardax.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all for taking time to log in and listen. Till next time.